Thank you so much. Thank you. We are gathered here at the headwaters of the majestic Florida Everglades, and one thing's for sure, I prefer the swamps of the Sunshine State far more than the swamp of Washington, D.C. My amazing wife, Ginger, and I consider it a blessing from God to call Florida home. But more and more, it feels like Florida is the world's greatest refugee camp. We have tax refugees who love our constitutional prohibition against a personal income tax. We have climate refugees who enjoy our beautiful shimmering oceans and our warm, inviting sands. We have political refugees, too, from communist governments in Cuba, Venezuela, New York, and California. New York seems to be finding out that when you import all of the third world's problems, you don't live in a sanctuary, you live in an asylum. Now more New Yorkers than ever are finding their sanctuary in our beloved Florida, and we welcome them so long as they leave their Democrat voter registration card north of the Mason-Dixon line. And thanks to the people in this room, Florida's getting redder by the hour. We have the greatest leadership team in all of America for our state Republican Party. Our chairman, Christian Ziegler, and our vice chairman, Evan Power, do a phenomenal job keeping this state red. Now, as a lifelong Florida man, I can tell you I know swamps very well. To build golf courses and subdivisions and outlet malls and theme parks, I've seen many swamps drained, and I know of what I speak. Here's something I can share. The alligators and the rats and the snakes and the vermin and the lizards don't like it too much when you're draining that swamp, and when the water level comes down, they hiss and bite and rattle around a little crazy. Now, I know I have taken a little bit of criticism this past month. Even the Wall Street Journal led with this editorial headline: "The Gaetz of Republican Hell." Keep in mind, this is the first regime change the Wall Street Journal editorial board has ever opposed. Maybe they would have been happy if I'd have found an extremist Sunni Muslim to become House Speaker. I understand why some of the rhinos and establishment Republicans are upset. People like Mitt Romney and Liz Cheney used to be important. Now, they are leaving the governance of the Republican Party to the actual Republicans. Oh. For too many years, the Republican Party was controlled opposition. Amnesty for illegal immigrants, intervention overseas, and selling out to corporate America drove the agenda. Well, those days are over. The Make America Great Again movement is ascendant. Mike Johnson is House Speaker, and Donald John Trump will be the next President of the United States. And I'm not going anywhere. To my doubters, I have this question. Did people actually believe we were going to take power away from a corrupted person like Kevin McCarthy, and the swamp creatures would just like it? Did you expect them to pack up and move? The lobbyists who owned Kevin McCarthy were never going to thank us on the way out the door. They weren't eager to leave their mud holes in the Speaker's office, but an extermination was necessary. And when there's an extermination going on, it can get a little grisly. Sometimes you don't want to watch the extermination happen, but you know the job must be done. Florida swamp drainers often endure bites and scratches and venom. All I had to endure was a little bit of Mark Levin and Judge Jeanine. But you notice those Fox News hosts really do seem to like our new speaker. Funny how that works. I'm sure glad they like the result. Some people called me vile, crazy, an agent of chaos. And that was just the congressional Republicans. They said far worse about me than they ever did Jack Smith or Ali Mayorkas or Merrick Garland or Christopher Wray or even Joe Biden. And by the way, Joe Biden deserves impeachment and Hunter Biden deserves a damn subpoena. Oh no, those rhino Republicans were so mad at me, but my sin wasn't deficit spending the dollar away or opening the border or arresting my political opponents. I did something far worse. I demanded that Republican congressmen actually keep their word to Republican voters. I guess I define chaos a little differently. To me, chaos is no budget. Chaos is an unaccountable administrative state. Chaos is a weaponized federal agency, everything from the DOJ to the FBI to the ATF, and I would defund every last damn one of them if we don't get them back on the side of our people. Chaos is voting on funding the whole government all at once. Politicians not naming post offices or passing messaging bills for 22 days is not chaos. By electing Mike Johnson Speaker of the House, we will bring order out of the chaos of Washington, D.C. I know what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for budgets that balance. Our nation's debt right now is growing faster than our economy. We are jeopardizing America's future to fund wars and nonsense in the federal budget. We fund English language classes to professional transgender women makeup entrepreneurs in Nepal. We are borrowing money from China to fund transgender businesses in other parts of the world, and we do it while our leaders tell us that makes us stronger. My friends, America is not the world's police force, and America is not the world's piggy bank. There is no shame in wanting to put the people who live in this country first. I care more about the people in East Palestine, Ohio, than I care about some fake concept of Palestine in the Middle East. I care about what's going on in Maui, what's going on all across America, where liberal Democrats have let the people of our nation down. There is no excuse for not getting spending under control. The rampant spending that is behind this inflation is making life unaffordable for so many. Inflation has gotten so bad that foreign governments can no longer bribe Democrat senators with U.S. cash alone. They have to send gold bars just so that the bribes hold value. But it's our fellow Americans who are spending more than $700 a month more than they were just 2 years ago for the same goods and services. 61% of this country right now, including probably many of you, living paycheck to paycheck. But when the paycheck doesn't stretch for the pay period, more Americans are turning to credit cards. Our debt is driving up the APR on those credit cards, and we now see more delinquencies than at any other time in the last decade. This inflation crisis is happening because we have a corrupt system where money is spent without itemized review. Just imagine if your wife turned to you and said, "Quick, let's spend $100,000 right now for the next year, or we have no food." The budget process is like this because powerful people buy off politicians to have influence. Our chaos, our challenges, are nothing more than their next lobbying contract. I had no choice but to make the change we made because of the challenges and the gravity of those challenges that we face. Joe Biden is sleepwalking us into 1 or 2 or 3 wars, all while soiling his pants on the way to meet the Pope. Trump gave us peace through strength, and Biden gives us war without winning, but all of this weirdness. He's been scratching and sniffing his way through the presidency. You deserve better. You gave the donations, you knocked the doors, you made the calls, and you elected a Republican House of Representatives. I figured it was about time we started acting like Republicans again. When I first ran for Congress, my campaign theme was Fight Washington, Restore America. Now, fighting Washington hasn't won me all that many friends in Congress. Far from it. I can't seem to keep a food tester. 3 died on me last week. But fighting Washington has won us a new conservative speaker. Fighting Washington has shown the swamp creatures that they don't win every time, and they're not going to keep getting away with breaking their promises and paying lip services to the true conservatives, making sure we win elections. Fighting Washington has restored some modicum of power back to we the people. And I'm just getting started. Back in January, joined by the outstanding Byron Donalds and the indomitable Anna Paulina Luna, we demanded institutional change. Changes like single-subject spending bills, a vote on congressional term limits, a vote on a balanced budget amendment, reduced spending to pre-COVID levels, and a full and complete release of the January 6 tapes. These are the things that conservatives agree on, but we have got to stop talking and start doing. Congressional leadership, they sat me down before all this and said, I just lacked patience. But it seemed more to me that they lacked courage. And now one of them lacks keys to the Speaker's office. I want to spend all of my time fighting Democrats and their radical destructive agenda. They break everything they touch. The economy, the border, even gender. They broke gender. If you would have told me that we would have these things going on today when I first got elected, I would have said you are crazy. But when Republicans keep acting like Democrats, I will be in the battle with you and I will fight them too. I oppose most regime change abroad, but it was necessary to conduct a little regime change here at home in the People's House. And I promised 2 things. We would have a speaker more honest and a speaker more conservative than the California lottery winner. Now, Florida alone is responsible for 4 additional Republican congressmen. Without those wins that we got here in Florida, Nancy Pelosi would still have power today. And then I did what I had to do. So I guess in a way, you could say that it was Florida that led to the firing of not 1, but 2 liberal California speakers. Mike Johnson is a great conservative. He is a proud Christian who cares about the Constitution. And we won't agree always, but the mainstream media is correct when they call Mike Johnson the most conservative speaker in history. Put another way, it was entirely worth it. This is a fresh start in Washington, and the lobbyists and the Uniparty are not happy about it. You know what? That's exactly how it should be. Our leaders should be beholden to the voters alone, not the foreign interests abroad, not the special interests here at home. And that is why I am the only Republican in the entire United States Congress who refuses all donations from federal lobbyists and political action committees. I work for you. I work for you alone, not them. Know this about power in Washington, D.C. You only get it if you take it. Folks can brandish the titles, get the big stabs in the fancy corner offices. They can even spend their time toiling on busy work masquerading as legislating. But the real power, the stuff that starts or stops wars, the stuff that will save or destroy economies, the stuff that will extend or end America's story, that power is more elusive. If you take nothing else from my remarks this evening, know this: our destiny as America First conservatives demands that we wield the real power. The swamp loses sleep over votes for speaker. You and I lose sleep over the 100,000 dead Americans poisoned by fentanyl. They're passionate about Ukraine's borders. I'm passionate about America's. They prefer a status quo that has destroyed this nation, and I want to go a new direction to save the country. Like Abraham Lincoln, I never claim that God is on my side. I humbly pray that I am on his. But when I saw Mike Johnson take that gavel and assume the speakership, I felt how many prayers in this country were answered. Still in D.C. today, they say I'm not a team player. What they don't understand is that it's all of you who are my team. I'm on Team America, not Team Globalist or Team UN or Team Ukraine. My team doesn't bend to the lobbyists or special interests. My team counts actual wins, not just how many players wear our jersey, and I need you on my team. So keep praying and keep fighting. Both will make you stronger and more useful to the greatest movement and the greatest nation in all of human history. And if you are willing to take some risk, endure some criticism, and put it all on the line, then come fight with me. Our battle does not guarantee comfort, more like blood, sweat, toil, and tears. But we will not merely endure political pain, we will dish it out. It's time to fill the political graveyards with our enemies, not our ideas. More victories are on the way. God bless Florida. I miss the Sunshine State each and every day. God bless America. Thank you for having my back, and let's go get them.